So my nugget. So I was listening to a Francis Chan thing maybe like a couple of months ago, and this kind of jumped out at me. Is there a Bible up here? I didn't bring my phone. Thanks. I always have my phone, and I left it back in my purse. There's a video thing about James, the book of James, where it's like a devotional thing, but then you click on it and there's like little videos about different sections of it. And I really like James, even though it's a tough book. It has a lot of tough things in there, and I can't find it in here because I always use an electronic Bible, so forgive me. Here it is. All right, so before I read the passage, I want to talk about an unpleasant thing that happens that none of us, I don't think, really like to hear about, but about someone in a relationship not being faithful to their partner, whether it's a husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, doesn't matter. I want to just say a short stereotypical story of that situation that you might have heard of in real life or on TV in a movie or something. But so the man or woman finds himself in a tough spot. He isn't happy as he once was with his wife. He wrestles with thoughts he knows that are wrong but can't seem to fight them off. He wants more than what he has with his wife currently. He sees what some of his friends have and misses that freedom or that newness of relationship. His is gone. His wife is not meeting all of his needs. He becomes depressed. One day he's out with friends, feeling sad and down. Maybe he's having some drinks, I don't know. Makes some poor decisions as a result of that situation and ends up being unfaithful to his wife. He immediately regrets it but doesn't know what to do. Decides he's going to keep it a secret. His wife finds out, is upset. She doesn't know what to do because she doesn't want to break the marriage up but doesn't want an unfaithful husband. The husband breaks down, begs his wife not to leave, etc., etc. Those are all stereotypical situations that may happen. Me, as an outsider, if I hear something like that, whether on TV or in real life, I mean, there's lots of thoughts that go through my head. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like why would he do that? Doesn't he see what he has? Doesn't he know that he's not going to do any better than her? Kind of out of his league. They're not going to find anyone better. Don't they see what they're messing up? Don't they see all that they have? Those are some typical thoughts that I think when I've heard of those situations. Some other things that are usually background situations when that happens is that the relationship has broken down over time. Communication is lacking. Usually one or both people still love each other but can't figure out what the problem is. And oftentimes when someone's unfaithful, they're not in their right mind. They're either depressed or, whatever the situation may be. It's usually not something that they want to do necessarily, not always, but so obviously not a fun thing to think about or talk about. But when I was listening to the James study, it was James 4. I might read 1 through 10. But it's James 4:4 that is the main verse. So we'll start with 1. What is causing the quarrels and fights amongst you? Don't they come from the evil desires at war within you? You want what you don't have, so you scheme and kill to get it. You are jealous of what others have, but you can't get it, so you fight and wage war to take it from them. Yet you don't have what you want because you don't ask God for it. And when you do ask, you don't get it because your motives are all wrong. You only want what will give you pleasure. You adulterers, don't you realize that friendship with the world makes you an enemy of God? I say it again. If you want to be a friend of the world, you make yourself an enemy of God. What do you think the scriptures mean when they say that the spirit God has placed within us is filled with envy? But he gives us even more grace to stand against such evil desires. As the scriptures say, God opposes the proud but favors the humble. I'll stop there. So I didn't really like that called us adulterers right there when I was listening. I, think of the story that I just talked about and kind of makes me disgusted, but then right here in God's word, it talks about us and compares us to adulterers. And for me, God talks to me using real life situations and tries to compare things for me because I'm kind of a literal person. And I think this was a perfect way to get me thinking. How are we adulterers in our relationship with God? A lot. We are often. And if you think about what causes somebody to do that in real life, I mentioned communication being a main problem. And I think that that's what causes us to be adulterous people with God, that we don't communicate and we don't have that relationship with God as closely as we should because we don't take the time to communicate what our needs are and have the right desires behind our needs when we ask. We don't realize that if it's something that we really need, God is probably going to give it to us. If he doesn't give it to us, we probably don't need it. And so we have to think of ourselves and put ourselves as in the shoes of an adulterer. And does that make you kind of sick with yourself? It does me. And every time I think about what should a person do in that situation if their partner has been unfaithful to them, should they take them back and work through it? Should they not? Usually we want people to work things out, but a lot of times we're like, why would she keep taking him back every time he does that? God's going to keep on taking us back every time that we mess up, so we need to be super thankful for that. But on the other hand, we need to not be that person that continually forces the person who you're being unfaithful to, or God in this case, to continue to take you back after you make the same mistake over and over and over and over. So we need to make sure that we're being humble when we make a mistake, and God will give us that grace and allow us to come back every single time. But learn from our mistake and think of yourself as that adulterer, and maybe you'll just be sick of yourself enough that you'll stop doing it. So that's it.
Thanks, Kelli.